Good morning from Vietnam. Good evening to you, Soyeon. Thank you very, very much for spending your evening to join. You're so kind and generous to spend time with us to share your stories to our global audience. And on behalf of the listener everywhere, we would like to say thank you.
Thank you.
And we were this close when you were in Korea, and you haven't came to our country yet. So take it as the invitation. If you decided to travel with your family here, and now you have a new family, new friends. Vivi and I are here, and we'd love to see you guys in person. Give you a big hug and take you around to show our city and our people here. Okay?
Cool. Yeah. You know what? My biggest regret was why I didn't visit the Vietnam before when I was in Korea. Because nowadays, a lot of my friends, they traveled around the Vietnam and in every single corner. But once I moved to the US, it's a really long flight to visit Vietnam. But it's not fake at all. And my husband always said that I really want to visit Vietnam. So we always thinking about when we can go there. So please let me know if there's any kind of good opportunity or speaking engagement or event I can get invitation from. Feel free to let me know because my husband will pack it out to go there together. And then we love Vietnamese food. So I
Yeah.
really want to try local authentic Vietnamese food there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we will try our best for that. Uh, so this conversation is a way for us to showcase,
Yep.
yeah, and share your stories to audience. And who knows who's listening, right? Maybe
Mhm.
somebody somewhere out there are listening, and we say, okay, so young, we love you. We love to share your story. So the world is very connected now, very small
Mhm.
and beautiful. And in our
Yeah,
culture,
any company, any educational event, or any space related conference, I'm open for it.
and in our culture, it's very honor if we can have you to share a little bit about you for our audience. Would you please do that for us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so where should we start? And then, yeah, selection process. Actually, frankly speaking, I've never dreamed to be an astronaut in my whole life because I don't know how close we can relate to each other, but when I was a kid, we didn't even have a space agency in Korea. And the fly in space, being an astronaut, it's more like American and Russian story, not the Korean story. So I don't think that might be the kind of dream we can dreaming about. So I've never thought about it. And then even if we watch the movie or Star Wars or any kind of SF movie, every single astronaut does not look like us. It's a kind of more like a white Caucasian grandpa kind of figure. It's the astronaut, not us. So I can't even dare to dream about it. But in the middle of my PhD program, I read about the newspaper article. Korean government also considering to find an astronaut to send to the ISS and with space experiment. And that was really interesting to me as an engineering school student. And engineering school students, we always thinking about the machine and space and kind of systems and kind of like that. So after reading that article, I bring that item to my friends and lab mates and how do you think about it? And in Korea also finally will pick the astronaut and then yeah, Korea will send the astronaut to the space and how do you think? And of course, because we are all grown up and we said, do we have a money like that? Or if the government can afford it? Do they already secure the budget? Because it's more like a realistic conversation rather than the, if we are kids, like a middle school, high school, we might be, wow, that's great. But we already in mid 20, early 30 kind of spoiled adult and we just thought about the realistic practical thing. So yeah, maybe, but let us see. So we just forget about it. And I also forget about it. But a year later, and I read the article again, they will start the program really, and they secured a budget for that. And that was really shocking. And then all my friends said, "Oh my God, we already, yeah, Korea became like a space country, and then we can do it." And then we just keep asking around. And whenever you read that kind of thing, and we thought about what kind of people would be the good fit for an astronaut, and then we just talking about it. And then what if I will? And they say, you don't have a good eye, and you better, you will be rejected. And some people, how about me? You cannot even run 100 meter, and your health is not good, and you cannot do it. And then we just kind of judging each other, criticize each other, and then like a close friend. And you are
Uh-huh.
too fat, you are too short, and then we just insulted each other. and but after for a while, and then one of my lemmates said that, how about Sen, you can try. And I said, can I? And yeah, you are smart enough and healthy enough. You run every night, 5 kilo, and you are healthy enough. And then maybe among the girls in this kind of engineering school, no one healthy like you, and you are very athletic, so you might be have a high probability. I said, really? I don't think so. And then we just talking about that. And some of my friends are working on the military service, so they cannot do any other thing. And they said that, Soyeon, you don't even have a military obligation, so you are a free person, so you can apply. And then we're just talking about it. And yeah, and also, as always, whatever topic we talk about, we just forget it. But after several months, Korea really announced that whoever wanna be an astronaut, you can apply for a selection process. And then I read it. Oh, maybe I can at least try because I wonder who will be the final. And if I really want to know what kind of people will be, best way might be to apply for that. And then I can meet the real people. And then maybe I can be a friend of the who will be selected as a final. So yeah, my pure motivation was just wondering how's it going on. Because Korea never had that kind of process before. We didn't have any selection process like that. So it's a totally from the pure curiosity I applied. And my goal is to be the kind of first step or second step. And then once I succeeded to making maybe first stage, would be the good line of the resume to apply for my postdoctoral job or something. Because yeah, so pretty much I was the really realistic and practical person. So at the time, what if I can survive until the first stage? And I really, really want to come to the US for my postdoctoral researching job.
Uh-huh.
And I already knew that there's a lot of smart Asians out there who will apply for a job. And Chinese, Japanese, Vietnamese, and Koreans, they always have a perfect GPAs and high TOEFL scores. And yeah, you know a lot of the smart kids in Asia. Yeah, everybody's good at math. Everybody's good at science. So when I read the astronaut selection process, oh my God, that would be the really good differentiate thing because all of the Asian kids are pretty much the same resume. But what if I have a one line of the resume, survived until the certain stage of the astronaut selection? It might be kind of attractive to the American professor in engineering school because
Uh-huh.
all of the Asian kids' resumes are so boring. They don't have any fun thing at all. So yeah, that's my first motivation. And then I told even my friends, and then yeah, if I can make a 1%, because there was a 36,000 people applied. So to be the final, you should beat the probability one out of the 36,000 people, and it's less than a 0.01%. So if I can make a final 300 or something, it's less than 1%. And then maybe it's good enough to kind of write on the one line of the resume. So yeah, that's my pure motivation to apply. But went well really much more than I expected. Yeah, it is a really fun process.
Wow. Wow. So you introduce so inspiringly, and it make us want to travel time with you. So let's travel time together.
Hmm.
When Vivian was little, she wanted to become a singer. Okay,
Oh. Hmm.
and she sang, but then she realized that singing is not a path for her. And for
Hmm.
me, when I was little, I was born in a city called Da Nang City, so it's small, it's poor, and that devastated because the wars happened there. So so my right side of the house is a graveyard. In the back side, the graveyard. In the left side of the house, also a graveyard. So everything next to my house is like graveyards, right?
Hmm.
And we had electricity one night. The next night we did not have electricity, so it's dark. And on those dark nights, my dream when I growing up is to become an astronaut. I really wanted to
Oh,
go to the moon and enjoy the beautiful shiny moon up there, right? And
that's
life taken,
beautiful. Hmm.
yeah, so life has taken me to a very different path. And on this path that Viv and I have been doing together in the past 4.5 years, we interview a lot of astronauts. One of them actually went to the moon, and then now we interview you, also the person going out of the the Earth atmosphere and go to the space, right? So we want to travel with you to when you were little to figure out what was your dream when you're growing up, and what is that you want to be, you want to become?
Yeah,
So what do you?
I grew up pretty much a similar environment that you had, huh? Actually,
Mhm.
I grew up in a farming community. My father was working for the Farmers Association. So my backyard is a rice farm, and my side yard is also rice growing, and left is they are growing the tomato. So I was surrounded by all the farmers. And then sometimes even my Korean friends, they cannot understand my environment because they grow up in Seoul. But I don't grow up in capital city. I grow up 4 hours away from the capital city, Seoul. And sometimes my friends said, is there that kind of place? And of course, in Korea, there's a lot of place. We are living with the farmers. And then my case is, yeah. And we don't have any person who went to the college before. So I was the first ever person in my family who went to the college. And we always have a flooded every summer, so water comes up until the waist, and then sometimes when I was a kid, water comes like that, and then you know what? Number one, my dream is to move out of that small poor city because I don't want to be flooded in the summer. Every time summer when we had a typhoon, water goes up. Of course, when I was a kid, it was fun because play with the water, even if it's the dirty water, it was fun. But my mom and dad, they are so busy to move everything out and then cleaning out. And after for a while, I just asking myself, why we keep living here, even if every summer we have a problem. But after for a while, once I became a high school and a middle school, I realized, that's because of the money. We cannot afford to move up to the higher enough place. So my number one dream is to move out of that place and living in the high-rise apartment to be safe from the water. And yeah, so you know what? Surprisingly, when I got my paycheck and then saving the money at the very first time for 3 years, first thing I spend that money is the buying the apartment for my parents to move up to the 13th floor. They've never worried about the typhoon ever, never, ever at all. So yeah, I grew up like that. So at that time, I even doesn't have the luxury to dreaming about anything. Just go to the high school and just go to the college and then getting a job to get paid and then finding the place, leave all family together. So yeah, of course, sometimes I'm thinking about to being a president of the Korea, or sometimes I'm thinking about to be judge in the court because when I watching the movie, Judge is doing the wonderful job to taking the criminal, put in the prison, and then saving the innocent people. And but I realized that at the end of the middle school, I realized I'm not good at the literature. I'm more like good at the math and science. So that lead me to go to the science high school. It's a government gifted program. So studied science and math is really fun and went to the engineering school for my college and I studied the mechanical engineering. But at that time, I realized that I'm not smart enough because a lot of other smart kids come to the same school and they are crazy smart. And then, oh my God, I thought I'm smart, but I'm not anymore. Yeah, so yeah, I change the dream almost every day. When I watch the opera, I really want to be an opera singer. And then when I impressed by the teacher, I also want to be a teacher. And my uncle came to me, Soyeon, you are the smartest ever in our family, so you should be a doctor because we need a doctor in our family. And then, should I go to the medical school? And then, yeah, all different kinds of dreams I had.
So all out of all of that, like possibility of dreams and potential things that you could have, studied and becoming, and when you said that you love science and math, and you could come to you become a economist or in finance or anything. Why in the mechanical engineering?
Yeah, you know what? I just went to the engineering school only because all of my people around me said that that's the best school to get a job. Around the 1990, it's a very huge economic boom in Korea, and many of the engineering school graduate they can easily find a job at the time, and then they go to the Samsung and Hyundai's and that kind of companies that grow up at the time. It's already 30 years ago, and then those companies are small at the time, not big as now, but they hire a lot of students, engineering school graduate. So that's the first motivation to me. I need a job. And second of all, when I went to the engineering school, I'm thinking about what kind of major would be the good fit for me because I didn't choose the major when I applied for a college. That's the best part of my college. They didn't want us to apply for a major. They just want us to study for a year and then give us a think about it. And then we should pick the major among the engineering school. So at that time, it's really stupid, but many of my friends want to go to the mechanical engineering department. I just follow them. But also, I realized that I'm not good at math enough to major in math. And I don't know why, but I did my bioengineering PhD, but at the time I don't like biology at all, so I don't want to go to the biology department much. So I had a several candidates, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, material science, and then all that kind of thing. But seems mechanical engineering might be best fit to me. But for now, thinking back, it's very, very influenced by my friends because when you are young, you easily lead it by your friends. Wherever your friends go, you just follow. And then I did also because most of my friends are boys because I studied in science high school and then more than 80% students are boys and then only few girls in science school. And all of my close friends want to go to the mechanical engineering or civil engineering and that kind of place. It's a very manly and then hardware related thing. And also those department is easy to find a job in the all of the good company in Korea. So I love it. And I went there. But you know what? After studying in the mechanical engineering, I realized that it's really good fit for me. I love hardware. I love making something walk and move. And you can see what you made. And then you can make something move and walking and operating. So once I became third years and fourth years, I realized, oh my God, I was lucky. I just choose without having any deep thought process. But I realized I really like it. Still, I don't have any regret to choose the mechanical engineering department because I'm more like a hardware person.
And then you, yeah, sorry, Vivian, go ahead.
I'm just wondering because you mentioned like two friends that really changed the course of what you are doing. The first friend is pretty much is the one encouraging you to apply for the astronaut, and this second friend, a younger friend of you, is introduced you to the mechanical engineer. Is he or she the same person?
Yeah, actually not exactly same people, but pretty much a similar group of the people who knows me better than I do. And sometimes your friends and your people knows you more than you knows about yourself. And then sometimes we all know that we don't know what we really like it. And then sometimes we don't know what we really want to do. But people who really loves you, they just observe you, they just can tell you, and then you know what, you always smile whenever you do this. Maybe you like it. Oh, I didn't realize that. Maybe I really like this. And then that kind of conversation we always do. So yeah, Vivian, you pointed out really important thing is people around you is really important because they influence you and affected you a lot. And I was really fortunate and lucky because I was always surrounded by the wonderful people and they really cares about me. They really encourage me because thinking about it, when the girl want to go to the mechanical engineering, most of people's reaction is why? And then girls rather go to the biology or computer science and that kind of thing. And maybe some people recommend like that. And then I heard a lot of girls, they heard about it from their family or friends. But interestingly, all of my friends around me and people who really cares about me, they don't make any boundaries or any limit. They always told me, Soyeon, if you want to try, you can just try. And then you can try whatever you would love. And then you might be really good at that. And then if you do your best, you can make it. And then, yeah, they are very positive. And then those positive energies influence me a lot.
So, I think that relationship is always a multiple ways, right? It's not one way. So, it must be something also from inside of you, from you showing up that, to your friends that build that relationship to that level. So, what did you do to nurture your friendship so that you be there for them, they be there for you, and you guys, live with each other?
Yeah, I think it's naturally learned from my parents because my parents always care about the community and they always helping other and they always showed me the evidence of how the people works together. And I grew up with my grandma and she's also same. And we had a small little yard in our house. And whenever we harvest anything, we just share with the neighborhood together. Whenever we make a huge kimchi and we share each other. And as I told you, whenever we had a huge flood and the whole house is submerged, we always cleaning together and help each other. And my mom always tried to taking care of the older seniors who live alone. And around the holidays, they feel so lonely, and we always share the holiday food with them. And with the church community, whenever the kids who cannot afford to buy the school uniforms or pay the tuition, even if my mom and dad has a hard time with the economics and finance, and they always have a hard time to pay our own bills and tuitions and school uniform, but they always try to help other kids who cannot even have a parent. So one day, my sister was so complaining about that because she should wear the used uniform from me because I'm her sister's, and she really want to have a new one. But my mom buy the new one for the kids who doesn't have parents, and my sister should wear the used one. And then she just complaining, how can you buy the new one for the totally strange girl, but you don't buy for me? And then why I should wear the Soyeon's uniform? It's already wrapped and used. And then my mom said that, told my sister, I still remember that. And do you want to have a new uniform without a parents, or you want to have a used uniform with parents? And she cannot answer at all. Yeah. So those kind of action always inspired me indirectly. At the time, I didn't realize that, but whenever the people like you or interviewers or friends, they ask me, so how do you starting to care the people? Why you always focus on the people around you? And I just thinking back, what makes me like that? And then that's from my parents, and they always care about the people who need help or who in need. And then that indirectly and directly affected me a lot and educated me a lot. And then I got to know the value of the working together and the value of the community. I think that's from parents and families and community I grew up, I think.
It's a beautiful culture there. And that culture is never wrong. It's helping people to, see one another as human beings with the deepest level of care. You mentioned about that word of wisdom from your mom. Talk to your sisters, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you share a piece of wisdom from your father talk to you that you still remember about it up until today?
My father's influenced a lot about my engineering background and career because he worked in the Farmers Association as a banker for more than 30 years as a banker. But whenever I watch my father, I feel so grateful because he chose that job only because of his family. Thinking about his interest and curiosity, if he really wanted to, and then at the time he would go, if he can afford to go to the college, definitely he will pick the engineering because he loves to fix the cars and fix our boilers, and we are always working together. And then my dad always fix my toys and fix my bicycles, and we always work together. And nowadays I look back, even if my dad loves those engineering, why he picked the job as a banker? But he only graduated from the high school. He would never go to the college only because of the poverty. and he cannot afford to go to the college. And then at that time, best job ever to taking care of the family was to working in a bank as a high school graduate. So he picked it. And then he never complained about it, working for that job more than 30 years. And then I realized that, oh my God, not because he loves it, but because he should do it. He just get that job and taking care of the whole family, not only our family, but also his sibling, because my father should take care of his brother and sister as older brother with a really, really poor family. Sometimes my uncles live with us, sometimes my aunt live with us, sometimes my cousins live with us because of that. And that he inspired me a lot about how to fix the things. And then maybe picking the mechanical engineering department is from my dad, because he is a nature-born mechanical engineer. He've never practiced like engineer before. So yeah, all those kind of things. And then try to find the problem together and analyze the problem together and then solving the problem together. Interesting thing is, he always did with me. Even if I was the 5 years old and 7 years old, little kids, you know what? Little kids always bother the job rather than helping the job. But he always included me as assistant, and then he asked me, Soyeon, go and check this, and then Soyeon, you should bring this, and then Soyeon, hold this, and then can you check the leaking over there? And then yeah, we always work together. So that is a huge thing from my father.
So it's not just parenting, but also mentoring and coaching you along the way, right? And you mentioned when you decided to go to mechanical engineering, this go against a tradition, you know, not like a very typical tradition back then, looking at women for, you know, educations. And I don't think it just happened in Korea. It happened also in many other countries back then. And then you pursue, you know, for higher education also. So what did your parents say, or the people around you say, when you decided to, you know, go for master and go for a doctor?
Yeah, but thankfully my mom always said, I respect your decision. So follow your dreams, follow what you love. And that's the biggest thing. But she felt a little bit sorry for that, because she will never go to the even middle school, and she doesn't know how's the college working, how's the graduate school working. So she said that, so we cannot advise you because we've never been there. But if you make a decision, we respect what you want to do and then what you decided to do. So just follow that and then do your best. And then that's my mom's reflection always. And then my father also. And we cannot help you well, and then we cannot afford it. But if you find a solution and to do that, and we definitely support you. So yeah, I always try to find the scholarship programs and grant programs. And my mom always said, how can you get the money? And oh, mom, there's a scholarship program. Oh my God, how could you find it? Because I know I should find it. And then yeah, that kind of communication always coming and goes. And then at some point, and then my mom even doubt anything. And then if you want to do it, you just do it, because you always make a right decision. And then yeah, I got huge support from my parents.
Yeah, so yeah, I feel like you walk into the unknown many times of your life. The first time is pretty much is that you are moving from the suburban area to the city place to avoid all the flood, and then you go into the doctoral degree in mechanical engineer as a first member of family and the first woman going to the space. I feel like in life, there's so many training and preparations we can prepare, but basically in reality, everything become so new and scary and be, you know, like so many things that can happen. How would you go through all of that? Yeah. Would you please give us some advice?
Only because I had no idea I can do it. If I know how tough it is, I might be scared of it. But I was too ignorant to be scared of it. You know what? Nowadays, all the kids who knew partially, they feel scared of it. They knew too much sometimes. And they got information too much. They don't have to know even, but they got to know anyhow from the YouTube or internet or influence of the parents. Sometimes kids, it's okay to be ignorant. That's the source of their courage and being brave. So my case is, if I knew how tough it is, I might not try. I might be scared of it, but I was way too more ignorant to be scared of. So I just try it. Yeah.
Uh, I think young and ignorant, right, it actually has its power. I try to imagine to live in your shoe as a little girl from a small town, 4 hours outside of Seoul, come to a huge city, and now you have to learn a baby steps to apply for scholarship because your family could not afford it for you and could not advise you on that. In the city, that bit of the world, what did you do back then to not only to survive but also to thrive and looking for scholarship that can help you to pave the way, pay tuition, pay for your daily livings? What did
So
you
you know
do?
what? So I feel so grateful because around the late 1990 and early 2000, Korea is growing really, really rapidly. And they are building the new education system. They are building the new scholarship program. So at that time, if you try to find the resources are everywhere. And then at
Oh.
the time, we didn't have internet and we didn't
Mm.
have SNS at all. So if you are physically close enough to find the resource, that's really good advantage. But thank God, I got admitted to the best engineering school ever in Korea, and that is the biggest, the highest ranked in Korea. And then if you are in that school, most of the resources are around that school. And then most of the grant and most of the scholarship, they always recruiting our school student first and then spread. So yeah, big huge opportunity is thanks to being in that school, and then not in Seoul but in Daejeon. It's 2 hours south of the Seoul, but very specialized for the engineering and technology program, and they are trying to kind of nurturing a lot of young kids who will be engineers and then build the country's future, because most of them, my friends are kind of building block of the Samsung and building block of the Hyundai and then building block of the LG, because yeah, late 1990, and many of my friends get a job from there. They are still there, and then they became an executive, they became a senior manager, kind of like that. So first of all, I feel so grateful that I was born in exactly that time frame.
Mhm.
And I feel so grateful at that time education system was open to me, even who grow up in a really, really rural area, because nowadays modern society, if you were born in a really, really poor area, it's hard to get the resource and hard to get in the good school. But in the way of the growing the country, that was a perfect situation for me. If I were the kids in that exactly same town right now, I don't think I can do it because it's totally extremely separated, and poverty and rich is totally separated nowadays. So it might be hard, much harder than before. But at that time, is yeah, more doable, and I got huge advantage. So I feel so grateful and also sometimes sorry for the kids who are growing up right now.
I I I I think if you born in any age, any time, you have the capacity inside of you to explore and you will make it. And I share with you why we saying that. Okay, uh, throughout our 1,200 conversations with experts in 100 countries in all 7 continents. So last year, Vivian and I sat down together with help from researcher and to really dive in deeper into each conversation, figure out what made these people amazing. And we came up with an idea that both of us are working on what now we call Newness Intelligence. So these people are not afraid of change. They're not afraid of something new. They have what you call in here is young and ignorant, just to get into that newness, to figure out what it is and what is on the other side of the mountain, right? So you have it inside of you. You go into the school and you just follow your friend, but you get into it and then you figure out, and what you can do it best. And for example, like you saw the news about the Korean space program, and that is new. You had an idea. That idea sit with you. And maybe that idea will sit with someone for a little while and it's gone, but it sit with you, it revisit it with you, and the third time then you apply for it. And in the book called Big Magic written by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she says that is the idea comes to you, and they knock door to you, and then somebody will respond to it, and the people who respond to it will make it the difference, right? So now we talk about the space initiative. So you rejected one. You had an idea. You rejected one because you just thought it's just an idea, right? The second time, your friends encourage you, and when you truly entering into the newness, the moment that you decided, okay, I'm having what it takes. I'm going to apply for it, and even if it just put one line on my resume to make it, for my postdoctoral degree program. But I'm gonna apply for it. So bring me to that day, bring me to that moment. What happened?
Yeah, you know what? When I tried to apply for a astronaut selection process at the very first time, I still remember the website was down because a lot of people tried to log in and then tried to apply, and then all my friends watching at my screens and, oh my God, website is down. And I said, let's go out and then drink some beer because it was in the middle of night, because they said they will open the application April 21st in 2006. So we thought it's better to apply as soon as possible. So from the April 20th and right before became a midnight, I tried to apply, but everybody had the same thought, and then we all go together, and then server was down. And then my friend said, oh, server was down. Let's go out for drinking a beer. Okay, let's go. And then we just all go out and then drink beer and then talk about everything. And then, yeah. But next morning, I feel a little bit kind of weird. Let me apply. And but at the time, I was alone in the lab because I always the person who came to the lab earliest ever any other, because if you come to the lab a little bit later, you should work with the other lab mates and a lot of machines running, and you don't have your own quiet time. So to secure my own quiet time to do my own job, I always getting into the lab hour and two earlier than any other lab mates, always. So in the early morning and then watching my screens, and I thought maybe I should try. And then quietly, I applied for an astronaut selection process. And then at the time, I didn't say anything to any of my lab mates, just apply. And then after a month or so and 2 months or so, and I got an email, you got screened for the first step. And then they just picked several thousand people out of the 36,000 people. And then they said that you are qualified to try next step. And then I told my friends, and then frankly speaking, I applied next day, and I survived, and then they are so excited. But they already knew that my goal is to make the 300 and to make the line of the resume. And then they said that, okay, yeah, you can make it. And there's even beating. So group of my lab mates, one group, they put the $10, she will make it. And another group put the $10, she cannot make it. And then they just fighting against each other. And then we said that once the result came out, we can go out, big, huge party. Either if she fail, we just support her. If she will make it, we can celebrate together. So it's kind of like collecting the money to make the party. We always need the good excuse to make the party at age in an early 20. So yeah, that kind of things happen. And then after 5K run and do the medical checkup, and finally I became the first round of the 245 people they announced, and then my name is over there. We had a huge celebration. And they said that, okay, next step, let's put the same amount of the money and then bidding for if she will win or not. And then, yeah, it was so fun. And then, you know what? At the time, I totally forgot about the astronaut process. I just feel so happy, make my friends happy. And they are so excited to watching the process. And whenever I had an interview or a test or any kinds of thing, if I came back and they asked me, how's it going on? What kind of people did you meet? And then what they did? And then I was kind of like a journalist. So whenever I go to the selection process, I just look and close and observe and meeting the people, talking with a lot of people, and then bring those stories back to the lab. And all my lab mates always enjoy listening to me, what I did before. So yeah, that was really, really fun.
Wow. And then from the first round, at 245 people back then, I think you share on one of the videos that we saw is like all of your friends were kept quiet and kept it secret from your
Yeah,
professor at the
yeah,
lab,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then
Yeah, once I
eventually,
became a 30,
uh,
I cannot help it because once I became final 30, the CARI, the organization who taking care of that, they told us your face and names will go onto the newspaper. So I cannot keep secret anymore. So my mom and dad, my advisor, they didn't know until then. Yeah, I don't want to tell my mom and dad also because they are waiting for my PhD is over and then get a job. So I don't want them to know I'm totally distracted by the astronaut process. But more funny thing is when I told my mom, and mom, I have something to tell you. And then my mom said, what? Do you want to quit the PhD program? Because at the time I had a really, really hard time to finish my PhD program. It was so tough. And I always look tired and I always feel depressed and kind of like sad. And then even sometimes to my friends and family, maybe I better quit because it's really tough to me. So my mom worried about me, and then I said, no, 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 it's not the PhD program, it's the other program. And then she said, what? And then actually I applied for a national program. And she said, I knew it.
but
And she said that when I heard about that thing, maybe Soyeon might be apply for it. And she's that kind of
oh,
girl. Yeah, she just guessed it. And the more funny thing is my brother also applied.
oh.
Yeah, but he quit in the middle because he was a junior year in a PhD program. I was a senior year in a PhD program, and I had more control of my schedule. But he was the freshman in a PhD program. He cannot have a control at all. He should have a very obligated coursework and job in the lab. So at some point, he cannot keep doing the selection process, so he just give up. But my case is I was the kind of almost a senior student in my lab, and then I can control my own schedule. So yeah, I keep going there. But it's so funny when I talk about that, and my brother said I did also. What? Yeah, it was fun.
I couldn't imagine all of the level of stress that you had back then for your PhD program and the stress of handling and the
Yeah,
space program, and the news and everything. And this is huge lesson for a lot of listeners to learn from there because life is stressful. And if you can share the practice that you did to help us to understand how did you
yeah,
neutralize it?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was really tough, and then you know what? At that time, I realized that how powerful the positive energy it is. Because you know what? Every day my experiment was failed, and then my PhD thesis doesn't go well, and every night I had a disappointment. And whenever I have a meeting with the lab mates or advisor about the research, I didn't have any good news at all. And I almost thought about should I quit it? I'm not a right person to do the PhD or something. And then can I even get a job after this? Or what if I quit this and then maybe I will be a loser or something kind of like that. And then that kind of thoughts are everywhere in my brain. But funny thing is, once I got survived the first stage and second stage, and then those good news came to me with the astronaut selection process, and then that gives me some kind of inspiration. And then what kind of inspiration it is, kind of like that. So you are not the loser. You made it, and you
Mhm.
are the person who can do something. And at the time, I realized, oh my God, I thought I'm I'm so bad at everything because I was totally isolated inside of the engineering school. And all of my classmates and lab mates, they are so smart. So even if whole schools are very smart kids in there, I've never seen the outside. I felt like I'm the stupidest ever in the world, and I'm totally miserable in my work, and I was totally isolated in there. But for the astronaut selection process, I get out of that. I can look my place more objectively, and I did something and I get the good result. And I realized, oh my God, I'm the person who can do something. I'm not a loser. And then those energy bring back to my research. You know what? Funny thing is, because of the astronaut selection, my schedule was much packed and much busy. So theoretically, I would have been not good at my research. But those positive energy making work better. So my experiment result even getting better.
Yeah.
Even if I was totally distracted by the astronaut selection process. So I realized that, oh my God, it's not the matter of how much time you put in. It's the matter of what kind of energy you put in.
Yeah.
So before astronaut selection process, I spent almost 20 hours a day in the lab. But at the time, no result at all. But when I follow the astronaut selection process, I can barely make a 12 hours or 8 hours a day and to go somewhere to take a running and to go somewhere to take an interview in the weekend. But I bring the positive energy and then more like hopeful energy. And then my experiment result and then that is going much better than before. And then nowadays, so I told my mentees and then do something else. Don't submerge it in that place because if you are too much focused on that, you will totally miserable in that kind of situation. Those situations will eat up you and then you cannot survive. So do something totally different thing and then go to the mountain or listening to the music or learning the music instrument. And if you can make a music well, oh, I'm the person who can do something good. And or, yeah, so I always recommend people to do some kind of hobbies or other things to make you feel a little bit more happier and positive, rather even if your job is not going well. So yeah, astronaut selection process saved me a lot, not only becoming an astronaut, but also from my PhD program.
What you just mentioned is exactly the power of newness right there. So you say do something differently. I know it now. You see me up and down. I'm just writing notes in here. So do something differently, and then that newness will give you a new lesson, a new feeling, and new emotions. And for in your situation, you're starting to do everything more productively, more system. In the better way. Also, 1 out of 36,000 candidates now we will be becoming the top 2. This close, right? That little Soyeon wants to move out of the town, the small town. Now she has this close to go not only out of that little town, now out of the space also, but as a second person, not yet in the first person. So what did you tell yourself every day for you to keep motivating you to continue the path? Why the
You know what?
Yeah.
Even becoming a backup was the great thing to me because when I heard that I became a backup 6 months before my flight, at the very first time I feel a little bit disappointed because I really want to fly. I really want a primary crew. But just in a second I thought about, how about the all 306,000 people watch me? They cannot even come this point. But I made almost the end of that. But if I feel disappointed, how other people feel so disappointed on me? Because you made even know there. We cannot go even there. You should be grateful for that. So I feel so thankful. And then I thought like it's not right to be depressed or it's not right to be sad because I could come much more than other people. And then I should let other people know how they're becoming a backup, how you can do your job better as a backup, even if you are not a primary. So at that time, I still remember the time when I had an interview with one of the journalists who came to me, how they feel, Soyeon, and then you might feel disappointed, and then what you want to do after that because you will not fly, you are just a backup. And I told them I want to be the best backup crew ever because I'm the only Korean backup astronaut. Yeah, so I don't have energy to waste to be sad only because of becoming a backup. I should do a lot of things, and then I feel so grateful that they don't kick me out of it. Even if I became a backup, they just keep allowing me to training until the end. And they just give me a chance to be a primary after 6 months. Because Because most of the orientation program or most of the kind of American Idol program, once you just fail, you just kick out of the program, right? You cannot keep doing. But in that case, even if you became a backup crew, you just keep having a exactly same training until the end.
Yeah.
So what a grateful thing, and then what a wonderful thing. And then you can keep having the training, you can keep experience the kind of all the process as an astronaut. Of course, at the end of the program, you cannot get in the rocket, but anyway, you are the most farthest ever person who go, except the only one person. And then all the 36,000 people that are behind me. And then that's the gracious thing, and that's the wonderful thing. So I don't think it's the right to be sad or disappointed. I think that's the one of the things to celebrate.
Not only 36,000 people behind you, it's the whole, uh, the whole population of Korea and also behind you for that movement. Also,
Yeah.
it's the first time you will have had the Korean space industry like a program, right?
Yeah, and then also, you know what? Astronaut's job is not only just to fly in space.
Yeah.
It's just a part of the job. Most of the job is you should share the experience. You should share how it goes. And then you should let the kids who inspire to be the engineers and scientists. So being a backup has a lot of opportunity to inspire the people and taking, so you can share the experience as a astronaut candidate, and you can explain about how things are going on and how the system works and how the technology works. So still a lot of job. It's not the failure. It's not the losers. So yeah, at some point, some people ask me, yeah, you became a loser. No. I don't be a loser. I'm the winner to be the backup crew. Yeah, it doesn't mean the loser. It's not a 1-0 game. Yeah, it's the things you just keep taking the experience on the way. Yeah.
Bring us to the moment a month before the launch day that you move from the secondary plus the backup to become the primary.
Yeah, right.
Bring us to that moment that you receiving that notification or the notice for.
Yeah, it is very mixed feeling I had because it means one person's a very big, huge down because the primary guy, my primary guy, he should make it down out of that. And of course, it's the big, huge good thing to me, but big, huge bad thing to him. So I try to not to make a big, huge noise because it's not good for him. So I still remember one night, and then the announcement happened. It's in the middle of the evening, and then a lot of Russian instructors and then my Russian friends they come to my room and knock the door and then bring the confetti and it's congratulations, and I said, shut up everyone, be quiet. And then they said, why is the things to celebrate? You know what, the guy who right next to my door, he feels so sad, so you better not doing that. And then just to come in, don't do it the whole way, and then come in. And they said, why are you scolding us, and we are here for you. I know, but somebody feels so sad, we better not do that. So, and also a lot of newspaper articles going on and what's the problem of him and how's it going on, and there's a lot of scandals going on in Korea, and many of the Korean people doesn't know what's going on, and they having some fake news and suspicious things open. It was so confusing to me. Is it something I should like it or I feel embarrassed? And then it's totally chaos to me. And I feel a little bit exhausted also, even if I will fly, but is it okay to be happy or not? Is it something I should like it or not? I feel so confused. But you know what? My astronaut, cosmonaut seniors, they are wonderful people around me. So one night, I was just being quiet in my room after my training, and I still have a hard time. But one of the NASA astronaut office guy and calling me to my room and said that Soyeon, come to the NASA office. And then I said, oh yeah, I don't have anything to do in this evening time, so I rather staying at home. And he keep insisting me come to the NASA astronauts residence. I said, I don't have a feeling to have a party because some NASA astronaut, they have some barbecue parties and kind of things and beer party in the evening time after all the training's over. So if somebody call me to come over in the evening, it means they want to have a barbecue party. So I said, I don't have a feeling to have a party. And he said that, no, you should come. And you don't have choice. You should come. And I said, oh, I don't feel like that. And then just come. And because they are so insist me, I just go there. But I have a long face and I'm not smiling at all. And he opened the door and then coming into, and he told me like this, Soyeon, in this house, no one watching you, only we are with you, and no one listening to you. So you have a right to be happy. You should celebrate what you have. Because this result, you made it. But why you are so sad? It's not your failure, it's other people's failure. You just own it. You just earn it because of your effort. So you have a total right to be laugh and smile and yellings and celebrate. So let's celebrate together. And that made me cry because they are the true friends of mine. And yeah, you don't have to feel guilty at all. And you should celebrate. And they just dragged me out to the underground. And then they turn on the TV and then give me the phone. And then what's going on? And then at the time, the astronaut who is already in ISS, I still remember the Peggy was on the phone. And then she said that, Soyeon, I know you feel confused, but don't worry about anything. Just do whatever you did before. And then we are here for you. So we are waiting for you here up there. And then, oh my God, I listening to the voice from the space and they arranged everything to cheer me and then encourage me out. And then that was really incredible moment. And all those friends and cosmonaut and astronaut who had a training with me, they really want to help me and support me no matter how political things and government things going on in Korea. They just help me as a human and then help me as a friend. And then that was an incredible moment. And then at the time I smiled and cried and then all mixed and then talked with them. And I decided, yeah, I will do my best to do things better. And then, yeah, it's always people. It's always people.
You
I
got
see
me.
the beautiful chapter you have, the two journey. The first journey is the
Yeah,
positivity.
Mhm.
Yeah, you move from the not enough feeling to a glass half full. A lot of people need that. And I
Mhm.
see the second chapter is so beautiful of the mindfulness.
Mhm,
When you start
mhm,
feeling about the other person, how the people around you,
mhm.
and please share with us more of that
Oh, thank you.
development. Yeah.
Thank you. Mhm.
Ah. So you got me goosebumps all over my body because of what you shared. It's really a unity of humankind celebrating something and it's so beautiful, especially when they arrange all of that for one person to really step up the game. And because you represent the whole nation, you represent the whole a gender of female who wants to be doing something extraordinary, right? While the world is like trying to press and promote differently, right?
Mhm.
Bring us to the moment that the door is locked on the capsule, and then now you're gonna go to the space.
Mhm.
What went into your head?
We were just exciting because it's very rare kind of situation because all three of us are rookie. Most of time in Russian program, if you have a three crew, at least one person who had a formal experience to go to the space. But in our cases, my commander who assigned for the former space flight before, but during the perestroika and then Russia has a really, really hard time and they canceled the one cruise. So he flew almost more than 10 years later again. So he had a big, huge story. And my engineer, Russian engineer, also, he originally assigned to the other form of flight, but it's canceled. And then he flight several years later with me. And in my case, I also became a backup. And then finally became a primary. And then we all three has a very interesting story before. And then almost couldn't fly at all. And then make the flight and then inside of the capsule, three of us together. But in the middle of the preparation, my commander's spacesuit had a problem, so almost our launch was canceled, but finalists made up. So it was very emotional, three of us. And then even in the middle of the problem, we thought maybe we are not the people who meant to be not fly at all, because we just come up here after all the hard time, but just spacesuit has a problem. What if our launch is canceled? Maybe we cannot fly again. And then we say, but all three of us agreed each other, we cannot give up. And so we fixed it, trying to find a way, and then checking out everything, and then convince the mission control we are ready to fly, and finally launch it. Because we had a lot of story like that, so we just yelling each other, "Oh my God, we are going!" And then, "Oh my God, it's going!" And then, yeah, that was really, really full of the excitement inside of the capsule.
And there was so many activities up in the capsule there, right?
Yeah, right.
A lot of experience you do for your country also up there. So out of all that experiments, and you mentioned that as an astronaut, you become an astronaut because you wanted to experiment science. So now going up there is a way for you to share the experience. It's just different height, right?
Yeah, and then doing those experiments is almost kind of like a babysitting, because every single experiment was the baby of the each scientist, each engineers, and they give their own baby to me to taking care of the in space. So I have a huge responsibility and accountability in my shoulder, and I know how it feels, because when I ask my experiment for other colleagues to do that, when those lab mates can taking care of that machine, I cannot do it. Then I always hand out to my specimen to the other person, and then, please take care of my experiment better. And then if something failed, please do your best to make the result. And then I know how it feels, and so I cannot miss anything. I cannot make any failure of anything. So even if schedule was so packed, sometimes it takes a much more longer time than we estimated. I cannot remove it. I cannot pass it, because I know how all the experiment designers and planners, they can feel like that. And then there's 18 different experiments. I cannot prioritize which one is prior than others, because every single experiment is the most precious ever for their own thing. But of course, above all, the experiment from the student science textbook and middle school, high school student experiment was the priority number one, because they are future of our country, and they will watching that videos and that data forever. Even nowadays, some of the kids watching my experiment in their own school in a science class. So that has a huge responsibility on me. So I really want to take care of them really well. And it's also much harder than other professional experiment, because I should explain in the kids' language in an easy way and do the science class in front of the camera. Yeah, nowadays I'm kind of feel more comfortable talking to the camera, but 20 years ago, we don't have a YouTube, we don't have a Facebook at the time. And then talking to the camera was so awkward and hard, but I cannot help it. So yeah, I feel so happy and honorable to do those science experiments for the Korean students.
I'm definitely with you for that, because recently I when the Artemis 2 launched to the moon, right? I share my interview with Charlie Duke. Is the youngest man out of the 12 who came to the moon. Yeah, one executive from Citibank, he's a global executive, texted me on YouTube, and he said that he collected every single, NASA related to, the Apollo missions and the stories when he was little, and he was dreaming about, Charlie and all the astronauts. And he texted me, he said, "Thank you so much for sharing the video." And I was like, oh my God. So I'm sure there's, like a lot of kids, not just in Korea, but everywhere, when, look at your experiments and dreaming about the future they could become. That's very inspiring. Out of that 18, which one did you like most, or keep in the memory most for you?
So yeah, of course, a lot of conversation going on over the dinner table among the astronauts. We talk about it, and then also still remember the time right before the undocking, right before the getting back to the Earth. Now we should finish it all the experiment several hours before the final time. And then certain hours we don't have anything to do because everything's packed. Go back and everything's already done. So at that time we just had a dinner and then having some kind of farewell party together. And my colleagues asked me to sing, so I sang the "Fly Me to the Moon" over the dinner, and then we had a farewell party, and then that was really fun and very relaxing. Finally, we can have a relaxing time after 11 days all the way. But I feel a little bit sad to get back because some of them are still in ISS, only 3 of us going down. And I really want to stay several days more, but I cannot do it. So if there's any place I can hide, I would love to hide. Yeah, so yeah, most of the time I spend with my colleagues and friends, and that's the always memorable moment, even in space.
So you sing, we listen to your singing. You sang really, really well. So yeah, that's coming from your parents or something that you learned yourself.
Maybe from my mom because my mom loves singing and she loves music, and she's been a choir member in her church for a long time, and me too. So of course, after being an astronaut, I was so busy I cannot do it. But until then, I always volunteer for the church choir wherever church I attend. So yeah, I love singing, and wherever I feel sad, wherever I feel happy, I love singing. And thank God, my husband also loves singing. He's even more enthusiastic than me. Even right after waking up in the morning, he just starts singing in the bed. So yeah, I love singing. Yeah, I'm not good at, but I love singing. Yeah.
He was interviewed by hundreds of mom and dads that when you shared at the Museum of Flies, right? That your husband now, but back then was your boyfriend, were interviewed by so many people. He got intimidated by that. So
Yeah.
what did he say to you after all when you guys decided to marry together about that
You know
incident?
what? He never treated or considered me as an astronaut. He more like treated me like just a Soyeon and then just a girlfriend or a wife. And that's the best things I really like that. And it is great because he grew up in US. He would never heard or watched the Korean newspaper or Korean news that. So he even doesn't know if Korea has an astronaut before, even if he's a Korean American. So when we met first time, he had no idea who I am at all, even if some Koreans already recognize me. So yeah, that's the kind of starting. So even nowadays, sometimes he doubt me, and then how could you survive in space even if you are that clumsy and then troublemaker? And I know I'm a troublemaker. And then well, yeah, one day, you know what? The very funny moment is when he had kind of chatting with his friend because he's a medical doctor, and then some of his friends also medical doctor, and he said that, you know what, the reason why I decided to marry with the Soyeon is because for selecting astronaut they did really serious deep psychological test, so she passed. So I was pretty sure that she's not crazy at all. But you know what, as a wife she's always crazy.
Forgot to tell that part.
So now you've been to the US for how many years? 12 years?
So, yeah,
14
it's
years?
already almost a little bit more than 10 years. Yeah.
Wow. And you carry your share on our Newness framework, we mentioned earlier, the Newness Intelligence, there's the letter S, and there are two letter S's, right? One of the letter S is share your story. So thank you so much for being an inspirational person, share your stories, and then help other people to learn and to dream about the future also. We just have two last questions for this conversation. Okay. Viva and I, we always love to help people to improve their ability to think. And the reason for that is there's always, there's so many things that impacting our ability to think these days. Those noises out there will not help us to think better, but just have, make us diminish our ability to think. And every chance we have a conversation like this is a wonderful opportunity for us to explore how amazing people expand their thinking. And it would be wonderful for our audience to learn from an astronaut, an engineer, a scientist like you, to share your secrets behind thinking. So, Sion, how have you been expanding your abilities to think over the years?
Oh, that's really interesting question. Expand ability. I don't know. I've never thought about in that way. I just whatever I needed to do, I just try it. Whatever situation I should push more, then I push more. And I'm kind of like an adaptable person. And depending on the situation, I try to adapt to that situation and do something rather than the complaining about it. Because if something happens, some people just complaining and do nothing, and it doesn't help at all. But my case is whatever better things happen, try to adapt the situation and solve the problem rather than the complaining, because we don't have any energy to waste to complaining or mad at that. And I really want to use my energy more like a productive way rather than the wasting way. So yeah, that's the one of the kind of expandability and checking the situation and checking the resource, what I can take advantage of, what I can use of. And yeah, more like a yeah, sometimes I'm too cold because some friends of mine said that, and you are way too cold, and then just thinking about the situation and analysis the situation and then try to find a solution. But someone should do that. At least one person should do that to make it things going. Yeah, if everybody's emotional and then nothing happened. So of course, some people who is way too emotional, they support me emotionally. They support me psychologically. I feel so appreciate that. So I don't even complain about that. So every single people has their own ability and their own capability. So I believe world is kind of doing the 1,000 pieces jigsaw puzzle. So somebody should be the corner, somebody should be in the middle, somebody should be the side, and then we try to find how to work together and then make a big, huge, beautiful kind of photo of the jigsaw puzzle. So I'm that kind of people who do the corner with the analytical thinking and solving the problem. And then my friends is an emotional supporter who's crying and smiling and supporting even if totally non-functional. And then we should all work together. And so that's how I expand my ability over the situation or behind the thought.
It's beautiful. It's a way to bring out the best collective ideas from anyone in the picture. Now we travel time for the last time. Okay, for the last conversation. You, me, and Vivian gonna meet you when you were little. On one of the days after summer, with all the flood that came into your neighborhood, and you know your parents were busy to clean up with your neighbors and everything. So that little girl, Soyeon, was sitting, watching, and thinking that she want to get out of here. She want to get your parents out of here, and somewhere, you know, higher, somewhere that they don't have to deal with all the flood anymore. All right, and that seed of idea, you know, build the determination for her moving forward to do, to work, to apply for a scholarship, to do all of amazing things. And overcome all of these challenges that she's been facing, right? So it's not an easy path. Now you, me, Vivian, gonna come to that scene. We're gonna sit next to her, and you're gonna tell her about her journey in the future. You're gonna give her some words of advice. And what is that you are going to talk to that little young?
Oh, you know what? That answer is always same because it's not the first time to be asked about that. And I know my answer is always, Soyeon, you are doing right. Don't worry about it. And because I always doubt, am I doing right? And is it okay? I always asking myself, and am I in a right path? And then am I making right decision, or is it okay? I always keep checking. But I really miss somebody who just confirmed it, and somebody just told me, you are doing right. And you are doing okay. Don't worry about it. But always I feel a little bit shortage about that thing. Somebody told me everything will be okay. Don't worry about it. And then I needed that kind of thing. So if I met that little girl, I just told her, Soyeon, you are doing right. Don't doubt it. You will be okay. And that's the thing I really want to tell her.
Wow, wow. I looked down in my notes and I saw one word. I circled it, but I forgot to ask about that. So maybe I ask one extended question and we end this conversation. That's okay.
Okay.
Because you live with your grandma back then also, right? And your grandma also play a vital role in your childhood. So instead of talking to so young, now you can talk to your grandma about your journey and anything that you can share with your grandma about the journey that you are going to have. What is it you're going to talk to her?
Grandma, she really became a doctor. Because she even called me doctor when I was 5-6 years old. Because she believed I am quite smart. So she always called me Dr. E. But she couldn't survive until I really get the diploma of the doctor. So I can tell her, yeah, I became a really doctor.
She's there with you on the whole journey.
I don't think she might care about being an astronaut or something. She might more care about the being a doctor.
How beautiful she is to call you at 5-6 years old as Dr. Yi, Dr. Yi, and then that's the idea built from the wisdom share for you to come into life with confidence, right? So I thank you so much for coming to this conversation, sharing your story with our audience, with us. We learn a lot from this conversation, and we want to celebrate with you. This is the 18 years after the launch.
Yeah, 18 years anniversary. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you, your family in person. I would love to talk to your husband more about the Soyeon Yi in the different person. Say hello to your family for us, okay?
Okay, we'll do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.